This lesson is about adding and extending disk using logical volume management. Now, why do we need to extend a disk? So if we have a disk already in our system, in our Linux system, and let's say if that disk becomes full, it's 100%. So you have this disk that is mounted on slash Oracle, and the disk space of that Oracle is 1 GB. And now, after let's say 6 months or a year, the database administrator comes back to you and says, "Hey, I need more disk space for slash Oracle because we've been doing a lot of work. The productivity has been increasing every day. The data is increasing every day. So of course, eventually the database gets bigger and bigger. So slash Oracle gets bigger. So what options do you have? Well, we could look at a few options. Number one would be like delete some of the older files to free up disk space, right? That's what the basic thing is. So if you have your room that is fully cluttered and you don't have a room to walk around, what do? You take out the older stuff and throw it away, right? I hope so, right? Okay, so the other options that we have is add a new physical disk and mount it to slash Oracle 2. Meaning that if you have a physical system, then you could add a new disk in this physical system if and only if you have the slot, an extra slot to add an extra disk to that physical system. If you have it, perfect. You could partition it, you could configure it at your RAID level, and then you can mount it on slash Oracle 2. Or if you have a virtual environment, which is the perfect scenario, and that's why I love virtual environment, because you don't really have to actually pull your server out, open the top, and add a new disk. So if you have a virtual disk, all you have to do is go to your VM and add a new disk, and it takes literally a few seconds to do that. So, and then once you add that, you do the same thing, slash Oracle 2. Now, I wanted to extend my slash Oracle. I don't want to create another partition or another mount point like Oracle 2. Then what do? Well, you will be out of luck if you had not used LVM initially. If you have, then my friend, you are in luck. Then you would extend your slash Oracle through Logical Volume Manager. So no matter how many disks you attach, external disk or internal disk, doesn't really matter. All you have to do is create a partition of that disk and then attach that disk within the same group that you created for slash Oracle mount point. Now, how does it work? Let's get into our Linux machine and we'll find out. Now, before we get into a Linux machine, let's assume that we don't have a disk space and we want to add a new disk to our virtual machine. So let's go to our machine, powered off. Of course, make sure it's powered off every time you have to add a new disk or add resources. Go to setting, go to storage, and then you'll see you have 3 disks. The first one you have is about your own Linux operating system disks that you created initially. I think it's like 10 gig. The second one you have is about the data disk, and the third one we added Oracle data Oracle, which is 1 gig. So let's click here and you will notice right here the virtual disk size is 1 gig, but of course it is running out of space. We could extend it. Now remember one thing, other virtual environment like enterprise level VMware or even Oracle or Red Hat virtual environment, you will be able to extend this disk space right here by clicking on extend disk. But I believe since this is a PC version, a personal version of virtual environment, so you cannot extend that. So what do you have to do? You click on your controller, add a new disk, add hard disk, create new disk, VDI, next, dynamically allocated, next, and the name you could just name the same way as the other one, data Oracle, and put 1 here, because of course, sorry, you cannot name the exact same because it will be a conflict. So now this is the second disk. You know what, it's better you put 2, so this way it's easier to differentiate the first one and the second one. So this is the 2, and I want to give it another extra 1 gig. So get 1 gig and click create. So it has created 2 disks. So basically what we are doing here is we are combining Oracle data, data Oracle with our data Oracle 2. So that is done. Now click OK. Go ahead and hit power on or start. Okay, so we have logged into our Linux machine. Go ahead and become root. Now let's run the df-h command, and the disk space or the partition that we are trying to extend is this right here. So if you look at it right now, this partition is mounted on /oracle, and the disk size is 997, which is like a 1 gig. Use is 33 meg and available is 965. Now we are assuming that right now the usage is, instead of 4, it's 100%. So once we're gonna add additional disk space to it, instead of 997 megabyte, it'll become 2 gig. So let's go to our command fdisk/l. Let's pipe it to more, and let's see what other disk we have available. Dev SDA, which is the root disk where we did the installation. SDB is where we created our data disk. Then we have SDC, which is the Oracle disk that we used. So now we should also have the new one which we just created with the label SDD. So let's see, hit enter. See right here, you just have to be very careful because sometimes it throws so much information on the screen you can't really see where your disk is. Anyway, so that's the disk SDD. This is our new disk with 1 gig. So now we're gonna partition that disk the same way we partition any other disk whenever we create a new one. So to partition that disk, you run fdisk/dev/sdd, and this is going to be your new disk. Hit an N for new, P for primary disk, hit enter for default, or just hit 1, whatever you like. Hit 2048 or just hit enter to default. Hit enter again for default value. P for partition, you will see right here it says empty. As soon as I assign 8E to it, it will see Linux LVM. So hit T again and L again, and you will see this is a list of all the available file types that we could assign to it. So we will just pick 8E again for Linux LVM. Hit enter again, and now you'll see Linux LVM. Now this is the system that's using its type of file it's going to be assigning it to. Now you hit W to create that partition. So that partition is created. The partition is SDD1. You could do fdisk again, hit L and do pipe it to more, and you will see SDD1. So right here, SDD1, it is created. Perfect. All right, so now you could just reboot the system real quick so it is updated in the system again. Okay, once you have your system back online, you can log back in and become root. Do fdisk-l again, and this time just type dev sdd1 just to make sure it's there. Yep, it's there. Now it's time to extend the file system. /dev/mapper/oracle-vg-oracle_lv. We are extending this one so the file system gets bigger. So first we do pv display this will show us which group is associated with which disk. So our concern is right here, this one, SDC1, and it is associated with group Oracle/VG. You could also run PVS. It will also give you the same, pretty much the same information. This disk is associated with this group. So we want to add a new disk within this group. And once we add that new disk that we created, SDD, then we'll extend the group and we'll extend the logical volume as well. So let's do VG display, and let's do on our Oracle_VG. This is our group. So you will see it also tells you the volume group size is 1020 megabyte, which again, of course, is 1 gig. So now let's create physical volume. So pv create /dev/sdd1, because we always have to create physical volume. So it is successfully created. Now we do VG extend. We are extending the group, which is the group name, Oracle VG, and we are associating that to dev sdd1. Okay, so now it is extended with that disk partition, because if you just say VG extend Oracle_VG, it will say, hey, I will extend it, that's fine, but which disk I should leverage on or step on or include that disk within me to extend. So you have to define that the disk is /dev/sdd1. Okay, so now that is done. Now let's do logical volume extend. So logical volume extend is right here. So you have to specify the size, which is, the command is -L, and plus the size, so 1024, which is 1 gig. So just put meg here, and then you specify dev mapper, which is right here. What I would do is I will just remove that, go up to our fdisk command, and I will just copy this entire thing so I won't make a mistake, because this is the logical volume that eventually we want to extend. And now we come down and paste it right here. Okay, so now we have extended, and it says logical volume Oracle_VG Oracle_LV successfully resized. Awesome. Let's extend the file system, and the command to extend the file system is xfs_grow file system, and then you hit paste, hit enter, and that should grow your file system, df-h, and now you will see /dev/mapper_vg 2 gig 33 Oracle is now 2 gig. Remember, we had it 1 gig, now it's 2 gig. That's how you extend a file system. Once you extend it, you go back to your Oracle guy, tell him you have added a new storage to your existing mount point. You did not have to create /Oracle2.